Student loans suck. It's already bad enough that college is only getting more and more expensive. A lot of us aren't even using our degrees, but those of you who took out student loans, you're probably strapped with $50, $100, or even $150,000 in student loans. That is crazy. So let's talk about this student loan crisis and how I was able to not even need to take student loans for my undergraduate or graduate degrees. Whether you're thinking about going to college, going back to college, or you've already made this mistake and took out student loans and you want to leave some information and hope for the next generation. Hopefully this video shows you that it is possible to get an education without having to strap on the baggage of student loans. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Teddy. I'm a financial coach and I help you take control of your money to be your best self at home and at work. And I want to tell you about my journey through getting my college education without having to take out a single dime in student loans, and how I was able to do that strategically starting from high school until now. So aside from financial coaching, I'm a social worker. I have my bachelor's in social work and I'm working on my master's degree as well. In order to have gone through that education without needing to take a student loan, it involved quite a few things in my life, and I fully acknowledge the privileges I've had growing up. And I want to tell you about how I was able to go without the student loans, without family paying for my tuition. And I want to show you that it is possible, but it doesn't always look as glamorous as you think it will. So I'm just going to really just walk through my story, and hopefully you can either connect with it, reflect on where you could have improved, or maybe look forward on some of the decisions you may be facing right now with your college education. As of right now, I'm almost done with my master's in social work. I have 2 semesters left and I've gotten the whole program paid for. In fact, I actually got additional grants on top of my tuition getting covered. So I got paid to get my master's, which is great. But it wasn't just that easy to find that. So let me walk through from the beginning, from when I first was thinking about a college education, and you can kind of see how that progressed. So growing up, I came from your typical immigrant household, Asian American, very focused on school, extracurriculars, all that stuff. Study, study, study. You need to get A's and B's, preferably only A's. And there was a lot of pressure. And growing up, I didn't understand the value of that. I was very bitter towards my parents about all the things I had to do, the grades and the pressure I had. But that did pay off, and I'll tell you why. When I was in middle school, that pressure was very high. I need to do the best I can, all this stuff. And then going into high school, a lot of that pressure came off due to some personal life circumstances. And at that point, I had built up a network of friends who were very driven in their education. And so instead of being pushed by my parents, I became self-motivated to do well in school. I had issues back then feeling validated, and so I compensated by trying to be smart, trying to get the grades, and essentially get respect that way. And now, obviously, I can look back at that and think that, I was dealing with stuff at the time, but I still developed a lot of really great time management, studying skills to do well in school. And I graduated high school from a dual credit program. It was a collegiate high school, and they actually have quite a bit of those around the country. There are high schools or charter schools that offer dual credit classes on a full-time basis. And so I got my associate's degree with my high school diploma without paying a dime. Like, it was publicly funded, and going through that program was hard. As a junior, as a senior, navigating, community college life and adulting and all that stuff while not yet being an adult was weird. And I felt really out of place. Actually, the decision to go to that school was really hard because that meant leaving the friends that I had for the past 6-10 years. Like, I had some friends from elementary school that I always went to class with, always went to lunch with, but having to switch schools to an unknown environment with people I don't even know, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just stay comfortable where I was at. But I got some pressure to go, but now looking back, I really understand the value, not only the dollar value, but the time value of getting my high school diploma and associates at the same time. It was a pretty rigorous program. I was blessed in the sense that I had a lot of the family support to get through those long nights of studying, to do all the extracurriculars and all that stuff so that I can do well in high school. And I graduated high school, towards the top of my class, and that opened up opportunities when it came to applying for my junior and senior year programs. I looked at 3 colleges. 2 of them were public, 1 of them was private. At the time, I was looking to go to nursing school, so all of them had great nursing programs. One of the schools, the private school, was like $40,000 a year in tuition and fees. One of the public schools was about 20, and the other one was about 15, somewhere around there. They're about the same. So the private school offered me about $20,000 in grants, which sounds like a lot of money, but that means I'm paying $20,000 to make the difference between the 20 and the 40. So, okay, it's a great school, it's a private university, really well known, but let me check what these other offers were. The second school, being the $20,000, I got about $12,000 in grants. So I would have gotten a bill of pretty much $8,000 per year, which is not that bad. $8,000 times 3 years, or really times 2 years, because the first year in university I would get free, just based on how I graduated high school. But that's still $16,000. It would have taken me like 3 years to get my nursing degree with that university. And then the last university, it was a full ride. All up to 4 years, up to my bachelor's, full ride tuition and fees. But that was like the school I didn't really want to go to. It was out of place for me demographically. I think the statistic was like 87% women and 13% men. And on top of that, being in a nursing program, that's like 10% men. Yeah, I definitely felt out of place. But after a lot of consideration of the weight of those tuitions, I went with the one I had a full ride scholarship for, and which was the best decision that I made because I didn't even end up getting my nursing degree. I went to nursing school. I finished about a year of it when I switched out of it, and I didn't want to do nursing anymore. I love the science and all of that stuff, but it wasn't me. It wasn't the work I wanted to do. So I bounced around careers a little bit, knowing that I still had 2.5 years left of my scholarship. Like, choosing that school with the full ride scholarship gave me the freedom to actually pursue a career that I will get fulfillment from. If I picked those other 2 colleges, not only would pivoting a career be expensive, but I would just feel trapped in nursing if that's the direction I went with. So I was able to switch from nursing to accounting. Didn't like that. I did not see myself being an accountant despite how much money they made. So I switched from accounting to social work. Social work has been very eye-opening in terms of the personal transformations I had in my life back then. And moving into the career I am now, it's the work I want to do, it's the impact I want to make in people's lives. And so I was able to get my bachelor's in social work with no debt. I even got a Pell Grant, and so I got some money throughout college. So with the Pell Grant, with working part-time, with living at home with my parents, that saved so much money that I didn't hardly put any money into school outside of just some of the part-time work I did. No student loans at all. And yet I see a lot of my peers at the time graduating with their bachelor's in social work, nursing, engineering, whatever, with like $30,000, $35,000 in student loans. And that's just for the tuition and fees. Some people took it out for even cost of living. And that can easily equal $60,000 for a 4-year degree that may not even make you that much and that you may not even use. And so when I was going through my social work program, I was also strategic with the field I wanted to move into. At the time, they had our internship semester and only one of them was paid. One internship was paid. So I applied for that one. I ended up getting it, which is really great because that field of social work generally gets paid more than other fields. So moving from that paid internship into a paid position, that was great. And I find out as I'm in the internship, as I'm working with my peers, that employer actually pays for my graduate school too. And that's something I really want to emphasize. If you're looking to get a higher education degree, whether it is undergrad or graduate school, so many employers will pay for that. And there are a lot of employers like if you're working part-time or full-time with like Chipotle, Amazon, McDonald's, even Uber now has a program where you could get a degree from, I think it's ASU, like Arizona or something like that. If you can get someone else to pay for your degree, that is so valuable. That is what helped me avoid student loans when I was going through graduate school. The majority of student loans accumulated by just people in general actually comes from grad school because there's less financial assistance for graduate degrees than there are for undergraduate degrees. So having that avenue to pay for my master's program saved me probably about $25,000 in tuition and fees. I get about $4,000 a semester towards my master's degree. And over 6 semesters, that's $25,000. That's how much I saved. I didn't have to take student loans, or I didn't have to spend out of pocket. That was completely paid for by my employer. So whether you're going for nursing, accounting, any graduate degree, social work, if you have an employer that will pay for that degree, even if it's not the ideal one, just do it. Take the chance, because it's so much better to put up with those 1 to 2 years of school than to put up with 5 to 10 years of student loans. Before I actually made the decision to go that route and have my employer pay for it, it was challenging. Why? Because I would only be able to go to school part-time. It would take 2 years to get my master's degree. I would go part-time 6 hours per semester to get it fully paid for. But that's balancing a full-time job with part-time school and then all the other obligations. So it was scary. My alternative was that I could stop working. I could do it full-time and finish it in 9 months to get my master's degree, take out loans or pay cash or whatever. And I would have had that master's degree a year, almost a year and a half earlier. And I wouldn't be tied to any kind of contract with my employer. Like, that sounded so enticing. But when I did the math, working while going to school and having it paid for, I would have come out positive like $30,000, $40,000 because I did it that way. Slower, steady, have it paid for by someone else. That is a lot of money. $40,000 is a pretty nice car. It's a really healthy down payment for a house. Like, what you can do with $40,000. Comment below, if you were given $40,000, what would you do with it? If you're able to save that much on tuition or opportunity cost, that has tangible value, because the alternative of taking out those loans are going to be strapped with you a lot longer than that. I really want to emphasize how scary it was to work full-time, to go to school part-time, balance my obligations. You know, I have a family, I had a kid, and all this stuff. It was scary and overwhelming. I didn't think I can do it. I thought I had to only do one thing at a time, but push through, and here I am. In 9 months now, I'm going to have my master's degree. I'm going to have my licensure with 0 student loans. That is wild. A master's degree and an undergraduate degree with no student loans. I want to show you that it is possible. I'm not special. I mean, my family had like middle class income, but they didn't put anything towards my college. Like, they didn't pay for it. A lot of that was done by myself, just with support for other areas. I was able to stay at home with my parents. I was able to find part-time work that worked with my school schedule. Like, I'm totally understanding that I was given a lot of privileges and benefits along the way, but that doesn't discount the amount of hard work and intentionality and the amount of things I had to give up in order to get there. I broke off so many friendships. I had to put myself into so many new environments that I wasn't comfortable with. I went to a school that wasn't my number one priority. I went to a school that I felt uncomfortable with only because school offered me a full ride scholarship. No one even cares where you went to school or undergrad. Like, if you have your graduate degree, like, that's the school they remember anyways. It was a free degree, but it came at a cost. It came at a cost of my time, my patience, and really just had to be my ego. Like, I had to humble myself to accept the help, because it's just a short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain of not having that $500, $600, $700 payment come out every single month. So if you're thinking about going to school or going back for a graduate degree or a second degree, You don't have to take out student loans. Take that option off the table, especially if it's for a degree that you may not have a really great income afterwards. Psychology, English, teaching, whatever it is. Like, not bashing any of those degree fields, but look at the stats. You're not making $100,000 with those degrees. So it's not worth spending $60,000 to get them. Maybe if you're an engineer, maybe if you're in data science or whatever, and you have the potential to make 150, 200, it could make sense. I still wouldn't recommend it because there are a lot of options to get your school paid for, but it's not the end of the world if you do it. Student loans are one of those things that will absolutely cripple a lot of Americans. And just know that it doesn't have to be an option. I didn't let it be an option, and you don't have to either. Or whoever you can send this to who's thinking about looking at colleges, there are a lot of alternative programs that are great. Trade schools, boot camps, cosmetology and technical schools. A lot of those trade programs, boot camps, they are cheaper, more cost effective, and you'll actually have a good increase in your income. So college is not the only answer to further yourself in your career. What I'm doing now with this financial coaching stuff, I don't need a degree for. Yeah, my skills from social work translate and help me out, but there's a lot that you can do without a college degree. So college is not the end all be all. A lot of our high schools and just culturally normalize that college is the way you gotta go. But there are electricians, plumbers, coders with no college degree, and they make more than I do as a social worker. Don't use college just for the college life experience, show off some degree or some level of pride for you, yourself, your family. What really matters at the end of the day, is your family taken care of? Are you financially secure? Because if you're holding on to those student loans, you're probably reminded 3, 4, 5 years down the line, I'm still paying for a degree that I don't even remember 90% of the information for. So that's a little overview about my story, about how I got my college paid for. I didn't need to take out student loans, and I want to show that it is possible. Comment below if you're going back to school, what you're going back for, and hopefully we can have an engaged discussion on alternatives to pay for that school, to still do the work you love and be financially secure. So that's the end of this video. If you like this, I really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button, comment below any questions that you have. But until next time, take this moment, take this information, don't just let it sit in the back of your mind. Go forward, think about it, meditate on it to actually make change in your life. Because why I want to do this, I want to help you take control of your money to be your best self at home and at work. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. I hope you got a nugget of information or a breakthrough that'll help you on your journey. And if you want more content like this, go ahead and click over here for more videos or over here to subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next one.